welcome back. My name is Teresa. This is the Garden Goose Stitcher Flosstube, episode 46 if you're returning. If this is your first ever episode, hey, how are ya? How'd you get here? Listen, to be honest, I've been missing for about 6 weeks, so we're both back. We're both here for the first time. Just kidding. It's been a while. I meant to check in after I went to Maine, after I retreated in Maine, and then I was stressed out trying to go to my next retreat, and it's been a minute. Took me a while. And also, since it's been so long, obnoxiously long, I have put away all my prizes, all my gifts, and all my loot, all of my hoard purchases. Because I thought, if I'm coming back after 6 weeks, and I was to remember all of the things, it would be obnoxious. So I decided, let's just check in, see how we're all doing. And then, I'll just show you what I've stitched. Just to make this a normal length floss tube. Because I've bought a lot of things. I went on 2 retreats, There's been a lot of shop opportunities in the world. And so I'm just here to talk to you about my stitching. And also I have that giveaway. I really wanted to make sure I get that out to the winner so that you could stitch it before summer. So we'll talk about that when I get there. I hope your spring has been springing. It is full blooming around here. Part of the reason I haven't been here is because I've been so hoarse. I forgot to take allergy medicine for a couple days. And then my Flonase was out. I didn't realize it. So basically, I wasn't dosing my allergy medicine, and I just become like a lounge singer. Like I could sing a real deep ballad. And turns out if you get a new bottle of Flonase, it actually sprays. It really helps. So here I am. I've been on pause in the garden. The garden is prepped. The garden has been cleaned up. Been weeding. Do you know my major problem in the world? I know a lot of people have real problems, but my problem in the world is quack grass. Do you know what that is? That's what they call it around here. It's the most awful grass. It's basically just like vines, like spaghetti strands all under the earth holding each other. Anyway, so that's what I do all summer and spring and fall, is just try to evict more and more quack grass out of my garden. I planted peas, obviously, before Good Friday. Or actually, I ended up planting them on Good Friday. Carrots, beets, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, potatoes. When I get back, I'm going on retreat this week. When I get back, it'll be full-blown after my frost date. So I can put everything in after that. My beans and other things. The geese are sitting on eggs still. I think it's not going to happen for them at this point. We did not incubate any eggs for the geese this year. I thought I'll let them do it. And they're still sitting. We'll probably have to break them. Sometimes they won't give up when they've been sitting on a clutch. So sometimes you have to physically pick them up and put them in a pool to cool them down. Because anyway, it stinks. But otherwise they'll just sit there until they die. Because they only get up once a day to eat and drink. And they're withering away. When they come out, they look like... So anyway, so the geese have been tasked with their own hatching this year. I don't think anything's going to happen. We hatched a bunch of chicken eggs. I think we ended up with 5 or 6. Then we went to get some from the store so we could get some fancy stuff. I got this one. It's called a Diamond Duchess. Nothing can happen to her because she costs too much money. $10 for one chicken that might die. Wild. Anyway, so things on my little homestead have been happening around here. I've also been in a holding pattern waiting for my last frost date and for this last spring retreat I've gone to. I had 3 booked for this spring. And so as soon as I get back, it's time. So I hope you've been doing the same if you're a gardener. A lot of you are, to be honest. My comment section is full of people who know exactly what I'm talking about, and I love it. I love it. Like if I sit here and talk about birds or some random thing for a long time, you know, people really show up in solidarity. I love it. All right, so let's talk about what I've been stitching. I have a mismatch, and it's been obviously 6 weeks. I have some FFOs. I have some other stuff. I have this FFO right here. I'll have to stop and get them. It's drying. Let's just be honest. It's drying. So I'll go through my other ones, and then I'll go get it. Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I the other day I was finishing up a little pillow for somebody. It's a secret. And while I was doing that, I had a couple others. I often will sew a pillow if I know there's a piece that I'm gonna make into a pillow. I will sew it into a pillow, and then it takes me about 11 to 12, 13 months to stuff it. Well, but then if I'm stuffing something that I have to do, then I'll usually go ahead and stuff a couple more. So Faded Flag, and plus right now I do have patriotic stuff out right now. So Faded Flag had been sitting in the closet ready to be stuffed, and I did it. This is by October House Fiber Arts. I don't really know what this fabric is. I looked at my project card, and it's a mystery. It kind of looks like maybe something I dyed. I think it's a 16 count. But I stitched this last June on the, was it the 80th anniversary? I can't think right there. D-Day. And so a couple of my friends and I were going to commemorate it by stitching something patriotic. So I stitched Faded Flag. It took me a day. And I had been in a major stitching slump, probably because it was planting season. And so it was a big deal for me to be able to get that done. So I got that one. FFO'd is going to go right down into my my house. I also FFO'd this guy, America by Emily Call Design. I believe this came out last May? And we had a little sale. This is stitched on Heroic by Picture This Plus. I think it's it's a 28 count Heroic. And I did a color and cotton conversion, which I often do when I'm making these little pillows because I love a color and cotton. So I finished this up. I ended up, sometimes I'm a bottom stitcher. And sometimes I access it through the back to stuff it. Depends on the size of the pillow usually. And so this is the back one. Last is my 18 Snowman 1869 crock. This is by Pinker and Pumpkin. You can tell my stuff is still, hold on. My stuff is still drying. But this is a Pinker and Pumpkin quilting and stitching black spot. We talk about this every time. Pinker and Pumpkin, you know I love her. You should follow her too, or subscribe, or however we get updates from her. She has all those freebies on her blog, and she just has some really cute series and stitches. So she has a whole series of this 1869 crock with different seasonal fun things. So this was a snowman. This sure does look like vapors, doesn't it? I did not, on my card, I did not find the fabric, which is common. If I'm using a scrap, usually stuff in the scrap bin doesn't have labels often. I use a little bit of Bonnie Camille fabric. This is from one of their new lines. It's just that little dot. And then I use a Lady Dot navy floofy thing. So I finished those guys up the other day while I was finishing something that I cannot show, but you'll have to take my word for it that I did something. But on to finishes. These have not been FFO'd. You know they don't have hope within this calendar year. Probably. Last time I checked in, I was stitching along with Emma and Stephanie. Stephanie, the New England stitcher, and Emma from B&E Stitchery. I got to see both of them in Maine when I went for the retreat the Library Stitchers hosted in Augusta in April, and I just love those girls. They're like real fun. I know that they've both done recaps, I believe, and so they started on the first day of spring. They started the Summer Blue Jays by Robin Pickens. Did I say Robert? Oh, what the heck? Robin Pickens, the seasonal courier, Blue Jays summer. I started this. It took me just a few days. I don't remember how many days I stitched on it, but boy, it was a quick stitch and enjoyable. Also, I don't know if you remember, but this is I had bought it online, and then I also was given the hard copy. So this is the giveaway for today. Remind me to do that at the end. I won't forget. But that's the giveaway. It didn't take very long to stitch this. If you're the WINNER, you have plenty of time to stitch this before summer. Probably before summer even technically starts if I get this in the mail. So this is really pretty. I did a color and cotton conversion and I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So that is that. Last time we spoke, I was getting ready to go on spring break with my family. We went down to Melbourne Beach, Florida, and spent 5 perfect days on the beach. If you remember, I think I talked about it. We went in January for just a quick little sunshine break, and there was no sunshine in January when we went. When we went to about the same area, you stayed at a different hotel, but we went in the very, very end of March, the first week of April, and we had every single perfect day on the beach. So I took this with me. I sat on the beach in Melbourne Beach and stitched this. This is a Barn Sweet Barn. This is the August Barn Sweet Barn. It is the center medallion part of the flea market baskets that Lori Holt designed a couple years ago. Fat Quarter Shop recolored the center star each month, and I believe, I hope I'm not lying, but I think this is the 4th one I've done. This is part of my series, attempt to finish a bunch of my series, and I think this, out of the 6 I had to do, I think this might be the 4th one. It could be false. I'm pretty sure that might be the 4th one, because they stitch up super fast, even if you're sitting on the beach and your hands are sticky from sunscreen. Oh boy. I also took this with me, and I had started this. I think this was in my car. Maybe I took it to the library. I was going to the library. My timing has not worked out since I've been home since for spring break. Because I missed a week at the library when I was on spring break, and then I missed a week when I was in Maine, or like I was traveling that day, and so I haven't been since. But I think I was taking this, and it was my in the car stitch. It is Country Cottage Needleworks. I'm not going to say the wrong one. April's Cottage of the Month. I think I had, how many of these did I have left? 4 or 5. I know not. I should have double checked before I tried to talk about what was what. But I finished this. I worked on this a little bit on the plane, and maybe I finished it right after we got there or on the way home, whatever. It doesn't matter. It was finished the first couple of days in April, maybe April 1st. I don't remember. But it's done. Another series checked off my list. I feel like I have really followed through with my series challenge to finish a whole bunch of series that I had partials of. I feel like I've done a pretty good job. I'm pleased with it, at least. I still have 2 big ones, and I'll show you that later. All right, so next I took this came up in April as one of my whip goes, and I'm not cheating at whip go. So I had, my whip goal was 5 days or finish. This was from a 12 by 12 start when Kia did magazines. I went through, I have a lot of magazines I pick up at freebie tables and people send me. So I went through and I chose this for one of my hours of stitching. This is from August of 1983. I am in fact from July of 1983. So I thought it would be fun to pick one as old as me. And I've been stitching this Dutch sampler. I don't really know who the pattern designer was, but can I tell you how tiny the pattern was? I blew it up on my tablet, but it doesn't really say. It just says the Heirloom Shop. So it was the Dutch Sampler by the Heirloom Shop. Anybody want to educate me on who that was? But I did a fancy floss conversion. I did 5 days on this, and then I only had a little bit to go. And I took this with me to Maine, and I stitched this at the library retreat, and I finished it there, even though I was having a heck of a time. I used a couple of weeks dye works, and you know how there was a time when they were really dry and they would fray a lot? I think the ones in this bag were some of those. I was stressing, and people kept saying, why don't you just come back to it later? Because I want to finish it. But I did end up finishing it. I did ring the bell. If I'm smart, I'll insert a picture right here of me ringing the bell. I think my friend took one. I don't usually ring the bell because I never usually finish anything, but I did this time. So, and then I went to a retreat the following weekend, and they didn't have a bell, but I finished 2 things. Go figure. Go figure. But I was happy that is off my WIP list. I accomplished it during the retreat. And my WIP goal was met, so that made me very, very happy. Okay, at the retreat I went to Maine, and then I went to the pep rally in Williamston, Michigan, which is just outside of Lansing. Chantel 141 Design, she hosted that retreat with Nicole Spohr as the guest designer. Nicole is like a guru of paper crafting, so I was really, really interested in what this would be. It was like a total mystery. When I got there, I said, am I supposed to know what's happening? She said, nope, it's a surprise. And so there was no stitching ahead of time. So we were gifted Nicole Spohr's first ever design. And it is really, really cool because it brings felt, which I've never messed with ever, and cross stitched together. The design board is really cool. It's like a stand. It's like a cookbook stand. It reminds me of one. It has a little pedestal to hold it up, and it's got a little ridge there to set your design on. Apparently, this possibly could be like a series. Apparently, I do not know. But it's Life is Sweet is what she called it. So there was a whole bunch of stitching, and then the leaves and the flowers are felted. She has a series. Listen, I know nothing about felting besides what I did there. There is this really cool machine. Let me tell you what it's called. Spellbinders. A Spellbinders machine. And they have these die cuts for felt, and they are super cool. Like, really, I enjoyed them very much, but we used them there, and I don't know if I'm ready to enter into that kind of world. But I did get my stitching done at the retreat, and then when I came home, I sat and I stitched all of those felt pieces down. She had us cut them there, and then I took them home and I finished it. This is on a 32 count. 32 count raw linen by Zweigart. And it was DMC floss, stitched up really quick. I sat with Michelle Lee Quilts, and she had hers done at the retreat. She had hers like finished, like I think she was second. There was one woman before her. Not that it was a race, but if it was, Michelle would have come in second. So, oopsies. So that was a finish at the retreat. Also, you know that each month I've been trying to do my ABCs. This is a catchphrase that I've created for myself to work on Anniversaries of the Heart, a new Blackbird, aside from the Anniversaries of the Heart, clean up a WIP, and work on a series. So I've been working on the series. I showed you a couple today, and I'll show you. I have one more to show you, I think, today. But my Blackbirds have not, they have literally just been a start. A day, maybe 2 days, a couple of strands. I just really would love to have a WIP Go board next year full of Blackbirds. So April's, I'll show you in a bit, but May's is a finish. May's is a finish. At the retreat, I started it and I finished it. So it is a tiny guy. Don't be too impressed. This is the main basket by Blackbird. It's a reward of merit pattern. I don't really know how these came about, and I feel like the Salt Box Stitcher, when she did her giant Blackbird Tour de Blackbird, I feel like she did talk about these little guys, these merits. I don't know if they're in new pattern books or not, but I have found a couple. I think I bought 2 in Denver at a stitching shop a year and a half ago, when I was there, and I bought a couple of these little guys. They just had them in stock, and so I do want to show you. I kitted up and took with me the called for floss, but the dye lots are so different. If you just look at the blues that are in that butterfly, and then the blues that are in my butterfly, totally different. A couple of times I did change the I think it was Otter Creek, whatever the crow was supposed to be, the bird was supposed to be, it was very green. So I ended up changing it and doing something that looked more like the bird, in my opinion. So I got this little guy done, start and finish. This is on the 32 count coloring cotton, Mushroom Bold. It was a fabric of the month club. Isn't it beautiful? It's a nice linen. So I got that started and finished. And I think that is all my finishes. I think that's true. Yep. Okay, I have a few new starts. I have a few. And if you're wondering, where are the Anniversaries of the Heart? Well, it has taken a turn. Not in a bad way, but I have my April. So my April Blackbird was another not too large one. Some of them have been quite large. I took this with me to Florida. I feel like I only stitched on it for a day or an evening. Every evening we would go down to the lobby and we play cards. We play euchre, and my mother-in-law came with us. So it was my son, my husband, my mother-in-law, and I. So we had a group of 4, so we could play euchre. We would go down to the lobby and play euchre every evening, which was very nice. So this is Easter Parade, and I don't know if do they have different names? Easter Parade. Does the basket have a different name? No. So I've started the bunny, and this, don't hold on to yourself. Listen, 'tis it. That's it. So my April is started, but my May is done. So, after I got all of my, once I got all of my market things, I was really itching to begin some things. I think I showed last time that I had stitched the Spring Swan by Brenda Gervais with a needle and thread, and I also had started this, and I do believe that I may have mentioned this. I think I did, because I do believe that I talked about how I wanted to sew it into a drum, and initially I had wanted to stitch it into a long skinny piece, but I'll have to piece it together because of the wrong count of this fabric. But this is Spring Trio. I took this with me a couple places, and I've just been working on a little bit. Spring Trio by With a Needle and Thread. I'm using a different fabric. This is R&R French Roast, and it says it's a 36 count. It was labeled a 36. It's a 28 count. And so I'm going to have to piece it together. But I have pretty much most of this guy done. I just have to do the buds down here, and I think those. The flowers up there. I think that's it. And then obviously the next 2. So I've been working slowly and surely. I took this with me to Maine. I remember I came in much earlier than my friends that I was traveling with. And so I sat at the airport near the baggage claim. Thankfully in Boston, they have a Dunkin' right there. Right there by baggage claim, they have a Dunkin'. So you can sit there for 3 hours and wait for your friends with a coffee. But I'm doing a coloring cotton conversion that I often try to do, and I sure do love them. They are really pretty. So that isn't a new start then. That's a whip. Did I talk about it last time, or did I show any stitching? Sorry. I forget. It was a long time ago. Also, I had bought this at Market. I thought it would be super fun to take with me while I traveled and to stitch. I took it with me to Florida, and whenever I started, I think I accidentally stitched with 2 threads. I love stitching with 2. I'm the only person in the entire cross stitch community that likes to stitch with 2 threads. I love the loop method so much. I hate one strand where you got to find a way or someplace to start it and bury it. I am alone, and I know. But I think I accidentally started with 2 strands, and so I had to restart it. I took this with me. I stitched on it a little bit in Maine, and it is Jeanette Douglas, her travel series, and I think this one's called Checkin Voyage. This is on Be Stitch Me, Not Another Sampler Company 30. It's a 20 count. And I wonder if it's really 18. But this is are you underwhelmed? Yeah, me too. I got 1 suitcase done. 1 suitcase. 1. So I suppose I'll take it with me on my next trip. I'm going to Minnesota this week. Wednesday night, I'll go down and stay in Detroit, and then I'll fly out real early Thursday morning. So maybe I'll take it. I think that I only got 1 suitcase done because I was at a retreat, which doesn't bring a lot of quality stitching. And I think for some reason I don't have that white color suitcase. I think I don't have that floss pulled. And I don't remember why, but I definitely need to look into that before I go. So I got a suitcase done. And I thought I should definitely document it. And this Flosstube. Okay, Anniversaries of the Heart. So, I've been doing them once a month. In April, I had a few days where I didn't even stitch in April. I had a really terrible knot in my back. And I was like crippled. But it meant that I didn't stitch for a couple of days, which was a big bummer. And and then I traveled a bit. And anyway, April, I did not get to finish the Pink Hill Manor, my bad, by Blackbird. I was stitching this, and I'll put my mom's info in there. Her birthday's in April. And, I know a lot of people really customize these, and I just can't do it. If I do it too much, I'll never make decisions. So this is on 28 count doubloon. So I shan't be in the picture anymore. But you can see my April house. I got the framework done, which is what I need to be able to start whatever house goes below it. So it's not going to keep me from finishing or starting each one. And I'm okay with, okay, so either I keep stitching on April forever and then get behind on all of them, or I stitch them, abandon them, and then next year I go around twice and I only have a little bit left to finish in a whole bunch of blocks. And I feel like that second option is more of a motivator to me, because if I see this next January, if I'm going around and I go to I guess in January I need to finish that one, that bonus. But basically, I think going around a second time would keep me going more so than if I just made myself stitch this April block until it was done. I was getting kind of sick of it, to be honest. I got the house done. I mean, that was no small feat. I have a lot of flowers left to do. There's a lot left. But I did, in fact, get it framed out so I can navigate down to the next block whenever I get there. And so I'm okay with that. And then in May is the farmhouse. And guess what? I've stitched on this, I think, 6 or 7 days this month. And I'm pretty much done with this as well. Pretty much done. I'm over it. I need to get my whip going, and I have other stuff to do. So I might come back to it, and I might not. But, so I got this much done. It's quite a bit, actually. So, these 2 new starts, they're not going to get done But I'm okay with it. So. What would you do? Do you think you would continue on each block, or do you think you go to the next one? Remember, I've kind of really, my mentality about it is that each one is its own project. Like, I feel like this is its own project, even though it's in this ginormous thing. So, I don't really think I mind coming back and finishing little parts of each one. I think it'll be like I don't know. They'll probably each be a day of stitching if I have an undivided attention. Well, and also, the reason I was able to get January, February, and March's done so easily is because I'm not busy outside. So, who knows what will happen in June. So, I guess we'll see. It might take me a couple of years to go back around and around. But I sure do enjoy stitching on it. I have found that when I I stitch using the pattern on my tablet. I have a Samsung something, whatever that is. That being able to highlight it, being able to zoom in and highlight it is crucial for me. I also recently, I'll tell you, it's really hard for my ego. But these glasses have magnification down here. It's not a progressive and it's not a bifocal. He called it something else, an easy something. But I think it's just supposed to make it easier for you to read up close down, like when you're looking and scrolling. So I had told my eye doctor that I had to take my glasses off to stitch. But then I had to put my glasses back on to read the pattern. And he said, "It is time." And I said, "No, I'm only 41. And he said, "It is time." So I did it. And I can see what he meant. I stitched a whole long while yesterday. And it was, in fact, much easier. Okay, one of my other whip goes. I guess we're going. Oh, no, I have one more new start. And it is one of my series. I want to stitch them before the month that they're due. Pretty much have. So this is June Prairie Schooler, the big one, and I started it in the summertime. I really like to sit out on my back patio and stitch on my deck. I have like a table with an umbrella, and I like to sit out. This is backwards. I like to sit out there. My dogs lay around the deck, and they just pant and watch the bugs go by. But I keep a project done by my chair that I stitch when I'm watching TV with my husband, and then I have a project that in the summertime that I like to keep upstairs so I can take it outside. And so this has been my outside project. I've officially moved to my outside project time. And this is my start that I have. I actually want to take this with me to Minnesota. So I've been working on filling in enough where I can fill in the house and the roof while I'm there. And it'll be some good retreat filling. If I could get the creatures and the flowers in the grass, then I can fill in the grass in the house. I got the windows. So that is my last new start, I believe. Ooh, I almost just dunked. Do you know that this fabric is is it true that Bee Stitch Me's have the blue? This was in my scrap bin and it doesn't have a label. I think it's a 16 count. Do you think it's honey something? Vanilla something? Is that true that if they're blue, it's Bee Stitch Me? I think that could be. This is one of my whip goes for April. I stitched on it for 5 days. I might have stitched on it for an extra day because I don't mind it. I mean, it's going to take me another 5 years, but still. This is Vintage Housewife by Lori Holt. I'm sure I started this whenever there was a sale. In probably 2021. I'm pretty sure I'm using the called for everything. I even have the floss holder. This is slow for me. I think this is the third time it's been called on Whip Go. I spent one Whip Go framing out the boxes and probably doing like one of those. And then I spent another Whip Go just putting in all the red squares around it. And this time I finished off this square. I just need to do the flower pot and then I put it. This is 5 days. You hear the cranes. So I've just been putting the pink in the gingham, and that's about it. I think I crossed X's on this thing. It was only half stitches. So there's a big apron here. That's it. It's going to take me another 5 Whip Goes, and I don't mind it. Although it's on white, and I hardly ever do pure white anymore. It's a 14 count, I'm pretty sure. I don't have a card for it. But I'm not going to antique it. I'm not going to antique it. Am I going to antique it? What if I spray it with antiquing spray? What if I spray antiquing spray on a Q-tip and just dab it in the white areas? Very carefully. Tell me what you think. Okay, and lastly, I don't even know why I'm even going to show this because it's kind of embarrassing. I took Channing Street with me to the pep rally and to the Library Stitchers retreat because I have the ability. I should take it with me this time. I just need to do filling in that grass in the house nowadays. Well, do I have the vine in there? I do have the vine in there. So yeah, I just need to do. I mean, I should take it again and get a couple more days of filling. This is like 2 days of filling. Just this green. That's all it is. It's 2 days of filling. So basically, I need to take it to every retreat I ever go to just fill in. I have the windows and stuff in there. I don't know if you can see them. This is Vanilla C, 32 count R&R. And I really, really do like it. But this is going to take me a long time too. I think this might be on my Whip Go again. It was called in... Was it called in February? I think it might have been called in February. I think that's all. I believe that's it. 'Tis all. I mean, if I had shown all the crap I bought, boy, and it would be overwhelming. So, if I saw you at a retreat and you gifted me something or you said hello, I just want to say thank you, and it means a lot to me. I think that's why I waited, because I want to be able to show everything, all the fun things that people were thoughtful and gifted me. But otherwise I was never going to get to Flosstube again. So it does mean a lot to me. So let's do the giveaway for this. And if you get me your address quick enough, I mean, I can probably mail this out before I go. I'm leaving on Wednesday night. Did I tell you that already? Probably. The winner for the Blue Jays. Also, I'm glad that there were so many people who enjoyed talking about Blue Jays. Truly. It was a great comment section. I think it's Leah Noonan, 579. If that is you, please email me at the Garden Goose Stitcher Flosstube. Nope, Garden Goose Stitcher at Gmail. I'll put it right here. This is terrible. I always forget if it's the Garden Goose or if it's just Garden Goose. And I kind of think it's just Garden Goose. So, anywho, that is all. I'm not going to spend 6 weeks before I check in again. I'll check in sooner rather than later. If you remember last summer, I did not check it at all. I think I did not check in at all. And even though I'm busy in the garden, I still do make sure I stitch in the heat of the day. What else is there to do? I'm too Scottish to be out all day long. I'll just fry right up. So I'm going to have to take breaks, and so I'll have to stitch a bit. Part of my problem is, after this manicure, I will have dirty fingers until September. So be looking out for one, and I'm going to try to do 3 weeks from now. I want to tell you about Minnesota, and I'm sure I'll be stitching. I still have goals and hopes and dreams. So I am going to commit and follow through on checking in more regularly, because it means a lot to me when I get to catch up with friends when they do their floss tubes. And so I want to do the same. I need to get a grip. Get a grip. Also, unrelated note, I want to let you know that, what's today's date? May 13th. I got my first good watermelon yesterday. And I wanted you to know that last year I was undefeated. I did not get a single bad watermelon. And this year, so if you're keeping track, do you do that? Listen, for $6, I'm just sitting there thumping them all, looking for a yellow spot on it. Hoping it's a juicy red one. Anyway, what I want to tell you is that I'm planning to check in this summer and follow through. How about that? If I'm going to see you in Minnesota, I can't wait. Make sure you say hello. And if I saw you at the pep rally or at Library Stitchers, please know that it means a lot when people come up and talk to me. Truly. It really, really does. Even somebody just like saying like, oh, there's the garden goose. And it just makes me feel happy. Happy. So I appreciate you. I've told you a million times how humbling it is when I read your comments or I meet you in real life. And everyone is so kind to me. Even when I can't remember my own name, which has happened once. If this is your first time, good luck finding it. It's terrible. But anywho, I'll check in a few weeks. I'm going to put it on my calendar. And talk to you later, friends. Thank you so much. Happy stitching, friends. Bye-bye.